morning. Hi, my name is Ruth Pompos. I'm a certified yoga instructor throughout greater Cleveland area. Welcome. Today's practice is going to be yin focused. If you've never done a yin practice before, it's longer held stretches. So we do go a little bit deeper, and we're going to hold the stretches 2 to 3 minutes. I will demonstrate the pose first for you, and then I will have you set yourself up in the pose. Some things before we get started. If you have any yoga blocks, you may want to grab yoga blocks. If you don't happen to have blocks, you can use books perhaps, or maybe some Tupperware containers, or be creative. Another prop that tends to be really useful is a blanket, or if you don't have a blanket, you can use a beach towel. And last prop is maybe some type of pillow. You could use like a body pillow, a couch pillow, your bed pillow, whatever, just to make maybe some of the poses a little bit more accessible for you. So go ahead and grab whatever props that you might have, and then come back and join me. So what we'll begin is just a little bit of a gentle warm-up, just to prepare the body to go a little bit deeper into our stretches. So I'm going to have you begin on your back. The first pose is called pinnacle pose. So it's kind of like if you're used to doing yoga classes, Shavasana. The only difference is your arms are going to be overhead. So you'll go ahead and lay on your back. Spread your feet out to the widest edges of your mat. And then I want you to take your arms overhead and just open your arms nice and wide. Go ahead and shift your body weight a little bit side to side to get settled and comfortable in the pose. Close your eyes. Relax the back of your arms, your shoulder blades towards the floor. Let your legs get heavy. Relax your toes, relax your jaw and your mouth. Take a full breath in through your nose, open up your mouth and gently sigh it out. We'll do that 2 more times. Inhale through your nose. Keep expanding the lower belly. Keep expanding, expanding, expanding. And then open your mouth, slowly sigh it out. Take 1 more full round of breath, just like that. On the inhale, feel your navel center draw away from your spine. So keep breathing in, expand your lower belly, expand, expand. Take all that full breath and energy in. Open up your mouth, slowly sigh it out. Relax your arms down next to your sides. Slowly bend into both knees and just allow your knees to sway side to side. Just creating a little softness in your low back. Preparing the spine to start stretching and opening. And that's the beauty of a yin practice. We stretch so much further beyond the skin, the outer layer, so much deeper than the muscles. We stretch into the ligaments, the tendons that connect our joints. We try to target and create even more space within each joint of our body. Pause right in the middle. Hug your knees towards center. Take a full breath in. Exhale. Draw your nose up towards your knees. Empty your breath out completely. Inhale, float the head back down. Exhale, draw your nose towards your knees. One more time. Inhale, release your head down to the mat. Exhale, draw your nose towards your knees. Take your hands, place them behind the backs of your thighs. Keep your chin tucked in to protect the back of your neck. And just start rocking from your tailbone up your spine. So just getting that spinal fluid to start circulating up and down the spine. Start getting the energy flowing from your tailbone all the way up to the top of your head. And last time, come all the way up to a seated position, sitting in a nice, easy cross leg, easy seat. Sanskrit, it's called Sukhasana. Take a full breath in, grow tall through your spine. Exhale, draw hands to heart center. Find the softness of your breath. And one more time, inhale. Sweep your arms all the way up. Exhale, draw hands to heart center. Relax your hands down next to the sides. Drop your right ear towards your right shoulder. Allow your left shoulder to get heavy towards the floor. Inhale, float the head back up, and we'll do the other side. Drop your left ear towards your left shoulder. Soften that space behind the back of your eyelids. Come to a soft gaze. Right shoulder drops and settles away from your right ear. And then inhale, come back to center. Take a peek and rotate your head and neck towards your right shoulder. Keep that nice tall length through the spine. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, turn and look over your left shoulder. And then inhale, come back to center. Place your hands right on your knees. We're going to do some circular motion with the spine. So I want you to just gently lean off to the right side of your mat and then take a little bow forward, lean over towards the left side and then come back up to a nice tall spine. Let's do that again. So we inhale through the first half of the circle and exhale through the second half of the circle. So you can take that tempo up a little bit quicker, or you can stay at your nice, slow, even pace. See what works best for you. So imagine that your spine is the spoon stirring the bowl of the pelvis. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhale and exhale. One more time around this direction. And then pause right in the middle. Now we'll unwind. So inhale, go left, bow forward. Exhale as you draw off to the right side. Inhale and exhale. Once again, allow the spoon of your spine stir the bowl of the pelvis. Starting to awaken the lower chakras into the pelvis, into the hips, into that whole digestional tract. One more time. And then pause right in the middle. All right, so the first pose that we're going to come into is called caterpillar pose. I will demonstrate the pose for you, and then I will join you with getting you into the pose. So a few props that you may want is a blanket, blocks, or your pillows. So this opens and lengthens our hamstrings, the back of our thighs, the back of our calves. And as we bow forward, we start to tap into our deeper digestional tract and our internal organs. So if you know you have tight hamstrings, and this is a problem area, I would highly recommend sitting up on a blanket with your sit bones right on the edge of the blanket. That'll help roll the pelvis forward and keep a nice tall spine. Another way you can soften into the hamstrings is by slightly bending in the knees and placing a block right underneath your knees. This will help protect the back of the knees and help protect the knees from locking out. So I'm going to take a full breath in, reach all the way up to the sky, and then exhale, slowly bow and melt forward over the tops of my thighs. I will allow my head and neck just to rest. If this is uncomfortable for your neck, you may take a block and place your forehead right on top of your shins or your thighs. Another tool or prop that may help, even for the lower belly, you can place that pillow right into the rib cage and the top of your thighs, and then softly bow forward. Okay, so now I invite you to come into the pose, starting in a seated position, legs extended out in front of you. Keep your feet and ankles nice and soft and relaxed. Once you find that comfortable position, notice if you need to place even a towel roll behind the backs of your knees. When you're ready to bow forward, reach up, grow tall through your spine. Exhale, bow and fold forward. So I want you to hold the pose and just listen to the words that I speak as you close your eyes. Tap into your breath. Begin to slow your breath down. Begin to deepen into your breath. Find your nice, long, expansive inhale. Slowly exhale all the breath out. I will time the pose so you know that I am being honest here and not holding you any longer. We're going to hold the pose for 3 minutes. Continue to just keep your eyes closed, relax into the pose. Feel your hamstrings in the back of your thighs, the back of your calf, the back of your ankles begin to lengthen. Feel the back of your spine begin to open and create more space. And then feel a gentle toning action on your lower abdominal muscles. All deep forward bends are very therapeutic for the whole digestional tract. So if you have digestional issues, all your forward folds are very healing and therapeutic. Keep breathing into the pose. You're 1 minute in. Feel the softness. So in Yin, we go so much deeper than the physical body. We start to tap in and notice the energetic body of our breath. How is your breathing today? Is it shallow? Is it deep? Is it choppy or is it smooth? Just noticing, not judging. You're halfway there. Just continue to hold and breathe through the pose. Another option for the practice, since we don't own any copyrights to music or have license to play music on video, you may want to choose to create your own ambiance at home and play some nice, soft, soothing music while you hold your stretches. You have 50 seconds left. Continue just to deepen into your breath. "30 seconds left. Notice if there's any transformation beginning to happen in your body. Can you slowly feel a shift of energy? Just notice what you notice. If your hamstrings and your legs are starting to relax. 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. And go ahead and slowly rise all the way up out of the pose. Take a full breath in, reach the arms up to the sky. Exhale, bring your hands right behind the back of your hip. Little counter pose. So in yin, it's always nice to do a counter pose in the opposite direction of the motion that we were just in. So I want you to open up through the front of your chest, finding a little extension into your spine. If you want to go just a little bit more, you can bend into both knees, float your hips up, coming into a reverse tabletop. Allow your head just to float back to a comfortable place. Take another breath in, and then go ahead and slowly release all the way down. Good. Just find an easy seat. I will show you the next pose. The next pose is called puppy dog, or it's called anahata. It's a heart opening, chest and shoulder opening pose. So the props that you may need are either blanket and blocks. I like to use a blanket to pad my knees. So we will start from a tabletop position. I will show you first without the props. Knees are hip distance apart. Coming down onto your elbows. And just release the outside of your forearms to the mat. Hands can come together or hands can be separate, palms down. You want to try to keep your hips lined up over your knees. Sit bones lift up to the sky. And I'll slowly begin to walk my hands forward, melting my chest and heart down to the floor. Now I can have my forehead rest on the mat, and this may be the place I want to stay. If it's uncomfortable to come all the way down, you can use a block right underneath your forehead and rest your forehead center right on the block. Arms extended. Another option would be to use blocks and place your elbows down on the blocks. Blocks are a little bit wider than your shoulders. Bring your elbows down to the blocks. Palms of your hands connect, and then you melt your heart down from here. Hands can float up over your head. But keep your hips lined right up over your knees. Softly melt the front of your rib cage and the front of your sternum down towards the mat. Feel the shoulder blades gently hug the back of your heart on the back body. Keep your head and jaw relaxed. So if you haven't already got into the pose, set yourself up into the pose that works just right for you. Again, starting from a tabletop position, either coming down to forearms and extending the arms forward, or if you like to use, if you have any shoulder issues, you can just simply use your blocks and stay here, or you can bring elbows on the blocks. Gives you a little bit more depth to open the chest and the shoulders with elbows on blocks. So make your way into the pose. We'll be holding this pose again for 3 minutes. So set yourself up, give yourself a moment. Once you arrive in the pose, again, close your eyes. Allow your body to completely relax into the pose. So yin, if you're on a perceived exertion where 0 is feeling nothing at all, 10 would be the most extreme, you want to be in a place about of a 5 or a 6. Okay? So make sure you come into that place of a 5 or a 6, settle in, and we'll begin. Create the space that is needed at this time in your body. Yin will help your physical body relax, help reduce stress, anxiety. And it really teaches us to be comfortable with just exploring who we are from the inside out. And during this time, since we've had to social distance ourselves, we've had to learn to be comfortable, maybe just being by ourselves, or maybe just being with immediate family. And that might be so foreign to some of us when we're so used to being out in a group environment. But find the joy in that, of just connecting and tapping into your inner strength, your inner power, and how the beauty of just knowing you will get you through this time. Because when it comes down to it, you are all that you have. That energy, that vibrancy, that vitality in you, no one can take away. So hold on to that. Hold on to that power and strength, because we're all going to get through this together. So you're already halfway through the pose. Feel your shoulders beginning to open. Can you soften anywhere, any amount in your body that you may still be holding tension? Where do you notice that you may be holding tension? Is it in the neck? Is it in between the shoulder blades? Is it in the arms? Can you relax any amount? Allow your exhale to soften your body. Remember, if you feel that level is going beyond a 5 or a 6, adjust the pose. Ideally, we want to hold stillness in the pose, but we don't want discomfort. So make any adjustments that you may need to. But try to work beyond that desire to get out of the pose or fidgeting. Try to find stillness, and it's in the stillness that we find peace and calm. You have 15 seconds left. 5 seconds. Keep breathing. And slowly release, coming out of your pose. Our counter pose is going to be tabletop and cat and cow. So inhale, float the chin and tailbone up. Exhale, curl the chin to the chest. Let the tailbone get heavy towards the floor. Do 2 more rounds at your own pace. Just massaging the spine, resetting the spine. The pose that you just did is a bit of a back bend heart opener. And then find neutral spine. The next pose that we're going to do is opening up our toes and our feet, which we tend to forget about our feet in so many day-to-day activities. But our feet are what support us throughout our daily lives. So it's called a toe stretch. So I will demonstrate quickly. I'm going to spread my toes as wide as I can. And I'm going to sit back on my heels. Now, for some of you, this may be very uncomfortable, especially if you've had any issues with your feet or your ankles. So a couple little assists that may help the pose. Because it is so important to open up the underside of our feet to keep our feet healthy. You may want to sit up on a block, or maybe even 2 blocks you can stack up. And tuck the toes under. If that still is uncomfortable, you want to make sure you spread the pinky toe away from the big toe as much as possible and get as much space and surface area on the bottom and the soles of your feet. You can also use your blanket to roll up. So if you have any knee issues, maybe you've had knee surgeries and you can't bend your knees as much, You can maybe try to place a blanket to sit up and then place your blocks right underneath you. Okay, so grab your tools that you may need, set up into the pose, and this one, and I will do it with you. We're only going to hold it 30 seconds because I know how this stretch can get pretty cranky, pretty easy. At first you may not feel anything, but then after about 10 seconds, you're saying, oh yeah, I feel this. So let's begin and just breathe. Breathe the space and breathe the breath. I know it may sound silly, but try to breathe the breath through the soles of your feet. Let your hips get heavy back towards your heels. And I promise that though this stretch may feel a little bit uncomfortable, the energy that you're going to draw up your legs and your feet and come out of the pose. See, that wasn't so bad. Now flatten the tops of your feet and gently tap them down. All right, the next stretch will be for the front of our ankles. And again, we'll only hold it 30 seconds. So I will demonstrate the pose and then I'll show you how modifications can be brought in. So once again, toes will be flat this time. Sitting back onto your heels. This may be enough of a stretch for your ankles. If you would like, you can bring your hands behind the backs of your toes. And then you can even float your knees up, getting a further stretch in the front of your ankles. So notice how that feels. So props, maybe I'm going to place a blanket right underneath my knees, and I'm going to keep my knees rested right on top of the blanket the whole time, and this is enough. Or you can even use the assist of the blanket as you bring your hands back behind you. So set yourself up into the pose, and this one again is only 30 seconds. So let's begin. Just holding and breathing. And again, coming to that place of a 5 or 6. So yin also works on our nervous system. When we can calm our nervous system down, our muscles begin to relax. And when our muscles begin to relax, our joints create more space and expand. And we'll keep time, and that's 30 seconds. Go ahead and just circle your ankles back and around from tabletop position. When we can calm our nervous system down, it works on our pain receptors, and it begins to decrease that activity in our pain receptors, and pain actually goes down. That's why yin is such a healing practice. So our next stretch is going to be for opening up into our hips. It's called dragon pose. So I will demonstrate it on one side. So you will be on one knee and the opposite foot will be forward. So you may want a blanket to pad the back knee. So starting from a tabletop position, you can bring blocks to the front of your mat. Step your right foot forward. Move your right foot to the outer edge of your mat. Bring blocks to the inside edge if you may need them. Now you can come into the pose very gently. And I feel a little bit of a stretch in my back leg. If you want to go a little bit deeper into the pose, you can walk your front foot forward and get a nice deep knee bend, or even walk your back knee back a little bit. So now I'm in a much deeper dragon pose stretch. But again, you're staying in that 5 to 6 perceived exertion range. I may want to keep my hands up on blocks. Maybe I bring my forearms down to blocks, or maybe you don't want to use blocks at all and you can bring your forearms all the way down. But remember, we are going to be here for 3 minutes. So go ahead and grab your props. Starting from a tabletop position, if you need to pad your back knee, place a blanket underneath your left knee. Step your right foot forward. Walk your right foot forward till you get that nice stretch in the back of your left thigh. Feel the stretch through the whole outer muscles of your right hip. Bring blocks in if you need to. Hands can come up on the blocks or forearms, or maybe no blocks at all. So get into the pose. I will begin the timer and begin. So go ahead and just close your eyes. Try to soften into the breath. And this is one of those poses that about halfway through, the mind might want to tell you, I can't hold this any longer. I need to get out. I need to move. Try to fight that urge to move. Try to find stillness. Embrace that space of stillness. Start to expand your lower belly on each inhale. Keep breathing in, breathing even deeper. Slowly exhale out. So the breath is going to be that carrier. It's going to be that vehicle that carries you through the journey of the pose. And we've all had our own journeys during this time. So just embrace the journey here. We'll do a little bit of reading, just about finding that peace and what this time has meant for you. Maybe you've been able to offer your gifts of service to others to help others get through. So you can begin the practice of loving kindness, maybe by meditating for 15 or 20 minutes in a quiet place. Let go of any plans, any preoccupations. Begin with yourself. Breathe gently as you hold the pose. You're down to your last minute. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be safe from inner and outer dangers. May I be well in body and mind. And may I be at ease and happy. Again, silently stating the words to yourself. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be safe from inner and outer dangers. May I be well in body and mind. May I be at peace, ease, and happy. Taking those words in. Just let them fill your whole body. Keep breathing deeply. You're down to your last 10 seconds. One last full breath in and out. And slowly coming up out of the pose. So our counter pose is going to be half splits. I want you to lengthen into your right leg. Draw your right toes back towards you. If you have blocks or books, bring them on either side of your right thigh. Just take a little bow forward. Inhale, float your torso up. Exhale, bow and fold. Just bring a little sense of ease into that hip. And then one more time, bow and fold forward. Inhale, rise up, come to tabletop. Take your right leg, bring it out to the side and find some big hip circles. Maybe do 3 or 4 in one direction. And then go the opposite direction too. Just bringing a little more circulation into your hip joint. Good. And then we'll set up for the opposite side. So I'm not going to demonstrate it. You know where we're going. So if you need to pad your right knee with the blanket, step your left foot forward. Find that space in between your right leg. So finding depth between the front of your mat and the back of your mat with the right leg and left leg. Give yourself a moment just to adjust in the pose. So the first maybe 15, 20 seconds, get settled into the pose. Find that place that's just right for you. That's about a 5 or a 6 where you know you can hold it for 3 minutes. All right, everybody set up and ready? And I will start the timer and go ahead and just begin. Hold and breathe. Are you able to now notice your breath a little bit more? If you notice that the mind starts to wander off in 50 million different places, it's like our mind is like training a little puppy. You have to keep bringing it back to home space. So same thing with our minds. Focus on your breath. An easy way to keep the mind focused is counting your in-breath and counting your out-breath. Maybe count for a 4 or 6 count in. And then as you exhale, count for a 4 or 6 count out. Can you find a little bit more space and stillness in the pose? Scan your whole body. Become aware of any place that you may be holding tension. If you notice tension, breathe into that space. Let it soften, let it go. You're halfway there. You can do this. Maybe you even notice a difference between the right and left side of your body. Maybe your right side talked more to you than the left side, or maybe it's vice versa. Maybe the left side feels a little bit tighter today, and each day it'll constantly change. Our bodies shift and change. We're never in a constant state. That's the beauty of allowing change to always come in each and every day, each and every moment. So you'll be different at the end of this class than you were at the beginning of the class. Hopefully in a good, positive way. Yin really works on the endorphins in our body, releasing those chemicals that make us feel good. Yin has a long-lasting effect too. You can feel the benefits of this stretch up to 6 to 12 hours after practicing. You can do Yin every day. You have 5 seconds left. Keep breathing. And then slowly rise all the way up. Take your blocks now to frame your left foot. Send your hips back, lengthen out into your left leg. Draw your left toes back towards you. Stretch the back of your left thigh into your hamstrings, into your calf. Inhale, float your chest up. Exhale, melt it down. Inhale, float up. Exhale, float down one more time. Feel that softness and that movement come back into your hip. Go ahead and plant your left foot, come back to tabletop and take your left leg out to the side. Find some big hip circles, circling all the way around in one direction. And then go the opposite direction. Just get a little bit of movement and circulation back into your left hip. All right, the next pose. So So I like to keep shifting around from body part to body part so we don't overly work one area at a time. So the next is going to be, again, for chest and shoulders and back. It's Sphinx pose or seal pose. If you tend to get tender in the front of your hips laying on your belly, you can take your blanket right underneath the front of your hips. Come down onto your belly. Forearms are parallel to one another. Elbows are shoulder distance apart. Legs can zip up close to one another, so you can bring your big toes to touch. Draw your chin back and in. And you gently press into your forearms, lifting your chest upward. So again, very healing for the low back. Very good if you have back issues, maybe even sciatic problems. So this is Sphinx pose. If you know that it's in your practice and you've done Yin before, and you feel that it is safe, because safety is first and foremost in doing all virtual yoga practices and every time that you step on your mat as well. You can come into what's called seal pose. So I'm going to keep my elbows right where they are, but just turn my hands out to the widest edges of my mat. Gently press up, extending my arms, but not locking out into my elbows. All right? So I melt my heart forward. So you decide where you want to go. So I will begin the timer. And this one, we're going to hold just for 2 minutes. Okay? So find your pose and we'll begin. And notice on this one especially, the exhale is going to relax your back. So I want you to really be mindful. Are you clenching the legs, the thighs, the back end, your rear end? Soften there, okay? Allow your glutes just to soften. Notice if they want to clench or tighten. Because if they're going to clench and tighten, that's going to keep undue stress in your low back and tension. We want all that to create more space, more length, more softness. We want to draw the energy from the tailbone up the spine and lengthen. Keep breathing and relaxing. Keep checking in with the back body. Am I holding tension in the shoulders, the jaw, the neck? Soften there. Close your eyes. Go inward. Breathing in softness and ease. Breathing in peace. Breathing in loving kindness. Exhaling out all tension, all stress. Exhaling out any anxiety. Maybe we're getting a little depressed, being inside so much. Breathe all that away. Bring joy and light. Bring lightness into the pose. If you're up on your hands in seal pose and it gets uncomfortable for the back, please come down to your forearms. Remember, you want to stay in that 5 to 6 range. All right. So from seal or sphinx, come back up onto your knees. Find child's pose. So big toes touch, knees open up nice and wide. Take a full breath in. Exhale, sink and melt your heels back, or your hips back towards your heels. Just hold and breathe here for a few breaths. Relax your head, maybe shake your head out in the direction of no, side to side. Maybe roll forward on your forehead, just massaging that. Take another full breath in and out. And just simply notice, how does your back feel? How does your spine feel? Do you feel a little warmth in the muscles in your low back? And then go ahead and rise all the way up. So the next pose that we're going to do is swan pose. It's another hip opener. So we already opened up our hips with dragon. We're going to further open up our hips with swan. I will face you to begin. So our front knee is going to be bent. The back leg is going to be extended back behind us. If, again, you need a blanket to pad your back knee, please bring your blanket back in. You may need blocks as well. So starting from a tabletop position, I'll draw my right knee forward. So if you're used to pigeon pose, swan pose is a softer, a little bit deeper bend in your front knee. So depending how bent your knee is, you want to keep the toe and your foot and ankle in proper alignment as well. So you want to keep that flow of energy from the knee, the ankle to the foot down. So you want to maybe find a little bit more of a soft point in your foot versus having it flexed. If I notice I've created too much space in the outside of my hip, I can bring my blanket in. That pillow that you grabbed, I want to place that underneath the back of my right hip. So we'll begin in this position. So go ahead and set yourself up. Again, if you need to pad your back knee, go ahead and pad the back knee. So I'll turn to the side now, so you can see me from a sideline position. Okay, so I'll just show you with using a little prop right underneath the hip. And that's just to keep the pelvis and the hips in a level position. So before you come all the way down to the floor, I want you to expand your swan. So imagine that beautiful white trumpeter swan out there on the lake. And its head and its neck is held high. So open up through the front of the chest, lengthen the spine, get tall, get longer, lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. Now exhale and bow all the way down to the floor. Again, you may want to use a block to rest your forehead on, if that feels good for you. If you don't need a block, or you can even take a block right underneath the chest. That's also a nice place to add support, and then you can let the head just hang. So set yourself up, grab your tools that you may need. And this one we will hold again for 3 minutes. And begin. Close your eyes. Scan your body once again. Make any subtle adjustments the first 10 to 15 seconds just to find that right space of the pose. Holding and breathing. Breathe space in between the right side of your pelvis and the left side of your pelvis. Imagining your whole pelvic bowl, the right and the left side of your pelvis expanding and getting broader and wider. Keep expanding your lower belly on the in-breath. You're almost halfway there. Can you soften any amount? Can you find more space somewhere in your body? It might not necessarily be in your hips. Maybe it's into the back. Maybe it's in between the space of the shoulder blades. Can you soften just a little bit more there? Keep checking in with the body. Keep checking in with the mind. What's the mind talking? What's it saying? Can you find enjoyment in the pose? You're almost down to your last minute. Feel the benefit of all the muscles surrounding your big hip joint. Lengthening, softening, creating more space. Releasing any tension in the back. Creating health in our joints. Yogis don't measure age by numbers of years. Yogis measure age by the health of their spine and all their joints. So we want to keep that deep connective tissue in our joints as healthy as we can. Down to your last 10 seconds. 3, 2, and 1. Good. Slowly rise all the way back up. Take your right leg, extend it straight back behind you. Bring your right toes down to the mat. Gently press back into your right heel. Rock from your toes back to your heel. And then go ahead and pause here. Float your right leg up and cross it behind the left leg. Just opening up the outside of the hip. Take a little twist there. Looking back at your right toes. And when you're ready to release, go ahead and release. We'll give you just a few moments so you can get set up on the opposite side. So begin again from tabletop position. This time, your left knee will draw forward. If you have a lot of knee issues, again, really prop this hip up. But this is very therapeutic for your knee joint, for your hip joint. Once you find that tool that you can prop underneath your left hip, square your shoulders, square your hips off towards the front of your mat. Find a soft little point in your left foot. Remember, we start with our extension. Take a full breath in, reach up, reach up, reach up, lengthen, lengthen. Feel like that beautiful swan on that lake with his head and neck held high. Exhale, bow and melt all the way down to the mat. And I will begin the timer. 3 minutes here. So sometimes some of us might think 3 minutes sounds like eternity. But if you can really get into the pose and let the breath be the vehicle that carries you through. Let the mind just kind of glide, almost like clouds in the sky. Let the mind just feel as if it's floating away. If the mind, again, if you have difficulty getting that mind to settle down, count your breath. Or maybe just find 2 words that are meaningful for you as you inhale. You recite 1 word. As I breathe in, I calm myself. As I breathe out, I let go. Or whatever it is for you. Find a meaning that works for you. Use that to channel your breath in and out. Keep connecting with your breath. Holding ourselves in that space of loving kindness. Now let's repeat those same phrases and we'll offer that loving kindness, maybe to your immediate family, maybe to those out in your community, Maybe those that really need that loving kindness right now. So replacing I with whomever that you're thinking of. May whoever be filled with loving kindness. May whoever be safe from inner and outer dangers. May whoever be well in body and mind. May whoever be at ease and happy. And those are all readings from Jack Kornfield, The Art of Forgiveness, Loving Kindness, and Peace. So just keep repeating those phrases, sending out that loving energy to those that may need it at this time. You have 25 seconds left. See how when you let your mind travel somewhere else, the time just flies. You might be laughing at me right at this point. 10 seconds, you can do this. Take one more full breath in, expand your lower belly, expand, expand, expand. And then slowly release. Come all the way back up. Extend your left leg straight back behind you. Bring your left toes down to the mat. Gently rock from your heels to your toes. And now take your left leg, lift and cross it over to the right side of your mat. Take a little twist. And go ahead and release. Take one more round of cat and cow just to rinse out, to prepare our bodies to come into a short little shavasana. Exhale. And one more time, inhale. Expand that spine. Exhale, draw the navel center towards the spine. Open up every vertebrae in your back. Let your head go. Just hold this pose for a second. Cross your ankles, have a seat. Make your way down onto your back. So for Shavasana, make sure we come into a nice comfortable pose. You may want to use your blanket to rest your head on. Maybe use your pillow to bring it underneath your knees or your blocks. Or you can even separate your feet and place your blocks right underneath your knees. Come down onto your back, palms facing upward. So if you need to layer up your clothing, put some socks on. If you want to cover up with your blanket, go ahead and cover up with your blanket. Separate your top teeth from your bottom teeth. Close your eyes again. Find the softness of your eyes behind the backs of your eyelids. Relax the space in between your eyebrows. You continue to hold this position. Just listen to my voice. Allow your breath to deepen. Feel your body get heavy towards the earth. Starting at the top of your head, become aware of your head, all the muscles in the front of your face, the back of your neck, the front of your neck, your shoulders, allow them to soften. Let your arms get heavy down into your mat as if they're sinking into warm sand. Feel the back of your spine melt down towards the earth. Feel the backs of your hips soften. Your legs get heavy. Relax all the way down to the tips of your toes. Feel your inhale lengthen, matching it equally by lengthening the exhale. Feel your body relax deeper and deeper. Feel the tension leaving your body. Notice the space that you created in your whole body as you stretched and opened. Leaving you with a reading today. We're all going through different things and journeys at this point in our lives. And it all comes down to having that faith over fear and just trusting in whatever it is for you that fills that space within you. These words, it says, trust me and don't be afraid. Many things feel out of control. Your routines are not running smoothly. You tend to feel more secure when your life is predictable. Let me lead you to the rock that is higher than you and your circumstances. Take refuge in the shelter of my wings, where you are absolutely secure. When you are shaken out of your comfortable routines, grip my hand tightly and look for growth opportunities. Instead of bemoaning the loss of your comfort, accept the challenge of something new. I lead you on from glory to glory, making you fit. Say yes to the ways I work in your life. Trust me and don't be afraid. So maybe that will bring your mind comfort, bringing that inner essence, comfort and peace. Continue to allow your body just to relax. Allow your mind to go on that inward journey. Think of a spot that brings you peace and comfort. Maybe it's a favorite vacation spot. Can you take yourself there? Maybe it's relaxing, visualizing yourself lying on the beach, hearing the waves of the ocean. Maybe it's outside in nature. Wherever it is, go to that place. Breathe in that total essence. Take one more full round of breath in. Slowly exhale out. Start to begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Gently rock your head side to side. Go ahead and draw your knees in towards your chest, curling up like a little ball. Roll over onto your right side as if you're in this fetal position. Using your arms and hands to guide you all the way back up to a seated pose. Once you arrived at your seated pose, take a full breath in, reach up towards the sun, draw the energy of that sun right into your heart. May you find peace and joy and happiness in this day as it unfolds before you. Thank you so much for sharing in this practice. Until we meet again, go in peace.